The storm had nearly torn the world in half the night she arrived, but even the roaring wind couldn't drown out the sight of him. The towering silhouette braced at the ranch gate, shoulders broad as barn doors, face shadowed beneath the brim of his hat. Clara froze. That was him. The man everyone warned her about. The giant. The beast. The husband she had agreed to marry. Yet in the moment their eyes met, she sensed something the rumors had never mentioned: fear. Not hers. His. Clara Wells had crossed half the country with nothing but a small carpetbag, a trembling heart, and a promise she prayed wasn't a mistake. She'd signed her name as a mail-order bride because she had no family left, no home, no future in the bustling eastern city where she'd grown up invisible. When the agency wrote back with a proposal from a strong, capable rancher seeking companionship, she believed it was God's mercy. But the townsfolk of Willow Creek had greeted her with whispers. "You're marrying him. Hope you like living with a monster. Huge fellow. Barely speaks. They say he's dangerous." Her courage wavered with every word, and as the stagecoach rolled up to the sprawling Montana ranch during a late fall storm, Clara braced herself for a brute. What she found was a man who looked carved from the mountains themselves, massive, silent, intimidating. But his eyes were gentle, warm, almost apologetic. "Miss Wells?" he asked, voice deep but careful, as if afraid of it. She swallowed. "Clara." "Yes." He lifted her bag with one hand, barely straining, and stepped aside to let her through the gate. "Welcome to Iron Valley Ranch. I'm Eli. The giant. The husband." But something in her chest whispered, "He's not what they say." Inside the ranch house, Clara felt small, but not threatened. The hearth glowed, the kitchen smelled faintly of fresh bread, and everything was neat, almost painfully so. Eli kept glancing at her, nervous, like a man trying too hard to make a good impression. He brought her tea without being asked. "You must be tired from the ride," he murmured, placing the cup down gently, never too close. "Storm made travel rough. You were waiting outside," she said softly. "You didn't have to." He shrugged, embarrassed. "Didn't want you walking in alone." That's when she realized the truth: this man wasn't a monster. He was lonely. A gentle giant who had lived in silence so long he feared the sound of his own voice. Days passed slowly but full of small discoveries. Eli rose before dawn, working from sunrise to moonrise. Despite his size, he handled animals tenderly, a massive hand stroking a skittish mare, a deep voice soothing a newborn calf. Clara, who had once been overlooked in every room she'd entered, felt seen here. Eli asked about her past with quiet sincerity, listened as if each word she spoke mattered. He fixed shelves to make her chores easier. He built her a rocking chair because she once mentioned missing the one from home. He let her braid his long hair one evening after a hard day, turning crimson when she laughed softly. But something weighed on him. She saw it in how he avoided mirrors, how he stiffened at strangers, how he refused to come into town unless necessary. One night, as they shelled beans by lamplight, Clara finally asked, "Why do people call you a monster?" Eli's hands stilled. His jaw tightened. "I hurt someone once," he said. "When I was younger. Didn't mean to. Just didn't know my own strength." He swallowed hard. "They said I was dangerous. Wild. Better left alone. Folks talk. Stories grow." After a while, it was easier to stay away from everyone than convince him otherwise. Clara looked at him, this enormous man who handled baby chicks like fragile glass, and her heart ached. "You don't scare me," she whispered. His eyes lifted, stunned. And for the first time, she saw not fear, but hope flicker there. Winter settled over Iron Valley, and with it came unexpected challenges. The cattle fell ill. Supplies ran low. A blizzard trapped them for 3 days. Clara worked beside Eli, refusing to be just a burden. She learned to mend fences in the cold, to cook for long days, to steady his trembling shoulders when he felt the weight of the ranch pressing down. But the hardest storm came from outside. One icy morning, a group of men rode up, town councilman demanding Eli sell his land after a dispute about property boundaries. They accused him of aggression, twisting the truth simply because his size made him an easy target. Clara watched as Eli shrank inside himself, shoulders rounding as he took the insults without defending himself. He believed them. He always had. But she didn't. She stepped forward, voice clear and bold. "Eli is the gentlest man I've ever known. If you want this land, you'll go through me first." The men blinked, taken aback by the small, fierce woman shielding the man they feared. And for the first time, Eli saw himself through someone else's courage. That night, after the men left empty-handed, Eli sat beside Clara at the fire, shoulders trembling, not from cold, but from emotion. "No one's ever stood up for me," he said, voice raw. "I didn't think I deserved it." Clara turned toward him, heart pounding. "You deserve more kindness than you've ever been given." His breath caught, and slowly, hesitantly, he reached for her hand, his enormous fingers enveloping hers. "Clara," he whispered, "I don't know if I'm the man you hoped for." She smiled through tears. "You're more." And when he leaned in, gentle as dawn touching the mountains, she knew she had never been safer. Spring came early that year. The ranch flourished. Clara planted a small garden. Eli smiled more, real smiles, unguarded and warm. The townsfolk, seeing the changes, began to soften. Rumors were replaced with truth. Children waved when he rode by. Neighbors asked for help with repairs, amazed by his quiet kindness. But the greatest change was inside him. One evening, as they stood at the same gate where she had first seen him, Eli wrapped an arm around Clara's waist and murmured, "First time I saw you, I was afraid you'd believe the stories." "I did," she admitted with a playful grin. "For about 3 seconds." He laughed, a deep, rich sound she never grew tired of. "What changed your mind?" She looked up at him, eyes shining. "Because when I saw you, I knew one thing instantly. You weren't the monster people imagined. You were the man I'd been praying for." Eli's throat worked, emotion rising in his eyes. "And you," he whispered, "were the miracle I never thought I'd get." They stood there, together, framed by the fading sun, proof that sometimes the world gets it wrong, and love gets it right. Message for the audience. Sometimes people are judged by their size, their scars, or the stories told about them. But real truth lies in the quiet, unguarded moments, where kindness speaks louder than fear, and love sees what others cannot. Clara and Eli's story reminds us that healing happens when someone finally believes in who we truly are.